Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is, what do we want? National reciprocity, with David and Gretchen taking a look at the national reciprocity issue. And you'll never guess who's running for Congress and scaring the heck out of Democrats. More trouble in the White House as liberals continue to make Trump's life miserable. And speaking of miserable, once again, smart guns prove they're not. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
What do we want? National reciprocity. When do we want it? Well, about 10 years ago. Look, I would have thought after some Birkenstock Brigade whack job tried to off House Majority Leader Whip Steve Scalise, Congress would have pushed national concealed carry reciprocity through in a heartbeat. The Louisiana Republican and Mo Brooks, the Republican congressman from Alabama, were specifically targeted for simply being conservatives. Unfortunately for the whack job, Scalise's leadership and had armed guards at their baseball practice who immediately returned fire. Attention diverted to saving his own skin, the Birkenstock Brigade's finest was too busy mixing it up with the cops to think about Brooks, but Scalise took a hit in the left hip, leaving him in critical condition. Several of the Republicans who were there subsequently complained that they should be able to carry a gun for personal protection and not have to worry about some bothersome local laws. In fact, Barry Loudermilk, the Republican congressman from Georgia, suggested that there should be legislation passed that gives said right to legislators, not John Q. Public. Attempting to justify why congressmen should get special consideration over John Q., Loudermilk said, quote, "We aren't any more special than anybody else, but we're targets," unquote. Apparently the fact that they've been sitting on House Bill 38, the very bill that would enact legislation designed to do just that for all law-abiding Americans, was never mentioned. House Bill 38, named Freedom to Carry, exempts lawful gun owners with concealed carry permits, with some conditions, against gun bans that start at state borders. Constitutional carry is also included in that bill. A report from the Crime Prevention Research Center estimates that the number of concealed carry permit issued last year was the largest increase ever, continuing a 4-year trend of record-setting increases in the number of concealed carry permits. Economist John Lott estimates that there are now more than 16.3 million concealed carry permit holders in the United States, with more than 1.83 million new permit holders last year alone. In other words, about 6.5% of all American adults hold concealed carry permits. So why shouldn't states be allowed to set their own firearm laws? Well, because states such as California, New York, and Illinois are controlled by Birkenstock Brigade social justice warriors who are itching to see people just like you gunned down by the Mongol horde they put into action themselves. Worse, various states have outright ridiculous laws regarding firearms. You think I'm exaggerating? In Wyoming, shooting a fish is against the law. In Louisiana, it's against the law to shoot a bank teller with a water gun. And in Kansas, it's illegal to shoot rabbits from a motorboat, but presumably okay from a sailboat. In California, you can't shoot any game from a moving car, wait for it, except a whale. States have no business regulating anything pertaining to the Bill of Rights, let alone the Second Amendment, but then neither does the federal government. Take the Hughes Amendment, for instance. It was added to the Firearm Owner Protection Act of 1986, which was an attempt to reform some of the deficiencies of the Gun Control Act of 1968. The Hughes Amendment bans the manufacture of machine guns for civilian use. It was hardly a crushing issue, considering there's no record of any legally owned machine gun being used in a crime since 1934. Similarly, suppressors should be removed from the National Firearms Act simply because there's no plausible objection to their use. In Europe, if you're going to hunt with a rifle, you are required to use a suppressor. Everyone knows Europe is the most anti-gun culture on the planet, and even they promote the use of suppressors. And what's up with short-barreled rifles? The feds literally arbitrarily chose a barrel length of 16 inches to be the shortest allowable, after which, if you could get approval, you paid a $200 tax. Somehow, in the mind of liberals, money equates to safety. Well, money flowing in their direction anyway. What's the difference between a short-barreled rifle and, let's say, a Desert Eagle? Zip. And don't get me started on the whole made-up assault weapon thing. Come on, Republicans. You're out on being pro-Second Amendment. Get the lead out. And I'm not talking metaphorically. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the second week. Because it didn't get read the first week.
It was recycled.
It was recycled.
It's okay. We're into recycling.
We do have internet tonight, right? I'm not talking to Gretchen and you.
No, we do.
That's
looking
No,
good.
we're online.
That's amazing.
It's hot.
Comcast. I'm sorry. It's not Comcast. It's Xfinity now.
It's Comcast.
Well, it's fancy. It's Xfinity. That's they
Still
charge
Comcast.
charge you more. Oh, we changed our name. Oh, what does that mean? Pay more.
More money.
Yeah. Give us a call, 815-205-1584, and you can weigh in on that. Just as a word of the wise, when we're talking on the subject, we sort of want to get phone calls on the subject. We're talking about gun control. Somebody calls in and gives a recipe for bread or something. It's,
It's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
It's the general idea.
Just,
when you call Joe Walsh's show.
yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, okay. So maybe that's not a good example. When you call Dan Proft's show,
There you go.
he'll only talk to you if it's on the topic.
Yeah. Well, they have a call screener.
They have call screeners,
Yeah,
yes.
and the call screener goes, "What do you want to say?" "I want to talk about baking bread."
Nope.
Yep, down it goes. D.C., as in Washington, recently, interesting. They, of course, did not permit gun ownership until Heller came along. And as a result of Heller, well, you got to let people, okay, you can have a gun, you got to register, you got to do this, you got to do that. Then there was no concealed carry. And then that sort of got changed. And so they quickly passed, it's a lot like Chicago, quickly passed a law that made concealed carry essentially non-obtainable while they
have a May issue law.
Yeah, they have May, and the May is a big May.
Well, most May issue states, that's my
Yeah.
understanding, is it's not
happening.
It's not easy. Yeah.
You're going to Hawaii. There's exactly one, reportedly, one
Yeah.
concealed carry permit in a state of
My
Ohio.
theory is it's the guy who administrates the program.
It is.
And he was just testing the software to see if it would work.
That may be true, but I've heard that, and you know, I heard it on the internet, so it must be true.
It's got to be true.
Yeah, not a problem. Anyway, so Wren versus District of Columbia, the appellate court came back with a 2-1 decision in favor, saying no, people may issue is wrong. Now, District of Columbia they're saying we're going to appeal this.
Right.
And so
They're saying it's still, don't get
It's
excited,
still
people.
in effect.
It's still in effect because we're going to appeal it.
exactly, which legally they can do that.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing, and how many times have we said this? These people know the truth.
Oh, yeah.
They know the truth. Rahm
They know.
Emanuel's not stupid. You know, Johnson's not stupid. Bloomberg's not stupid. You don't get to be in those positions and be an idiot.
No.
They just ignore it.
They just don't care.
Yeah.
They want what they want, and they don't care about anyone else.
And they're all defended. They're surrounded by armed guards.
Oh, right. Well, and it says, you know, Glenn Beck wrote a book about it, but it's so true. It's not about gun control. It's not about guns. It's about control.
Absolutely. I remember Rosie O'Donnell. Remember Rosie used to be on The View? Mm-hmm. And
Unfortunately, yes, I do remember
she
that.
would talk about no one should own a gun. And it was Elizabeth, wasn't it? Who was the conservative? The
Yes.
one holdout conservative.
Yes.
Elizabeth Hasselbeck, I think it was her name,
Hasselbeck, yeah.
said, wait a minute, you have armed guards. She goes, well, I don't own a gun. and
You hire people who do.
Hasselbeck says, but you hire people who have guns, and you don't think people should have guns. Oh, well, that's different. Precisely how is that different? You know, she's such a... Who was it that said...
It is funny, though. I mean, it's like they seriously never thought about it. And it's like, okay, well, when that happens, your armed guards go away. They're just guards.
Bye.
Right. Now they're just big, ugly guys.
Yeah.
Not sure that's quite the same.
Probably not. Although, according to Feinstein's aid, it was Feinstein's aid, if you just put your gun down, the bad guys, it's a natural human tendency that they'll put theirs
their
down
gun
too.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, right.
What world does she live in?
They can, which does underscore the point. I've said for a long time, liberals aren't stupid, but in point of fact, many of them are actually stupid.
There are some.
There
yeah.
are some that are pretty stupid. Yeah, put your gun down and be okay. Yeah, that's when you get shot. So anyway, DC's going to appeal that. They don't like it, but they're going to probably ask for an en banc and have the whole thing done. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Maryland's gun ban. So we'll be back with that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's myeditor@mail.com, or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
You know, just one last thought about the D.C. thing. This is what they always say. This is quintessential liberalism. This is the quote from it. It says, as we consider seeking review of today's 2-to-1 decision before the entire D.C. Circuit, the good reason requirement remains in effect. The Office of Attorney General is committed to working with the mayor and council to continue fighting for common sense gun rules.
Yeah.
Common sense.
That's right.
What you ask?
In other words, if you had any common sense, you would agree with this.
That's right. You're an idiot.
Basically,
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it is. That's what it amounts to. Is you're too stupid to realize that this is a good law.
Is that not, seriously, is that not the basic MO of liberalism?
Yeah.
We're smarter than you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know how to spend your money better than you do. We know how to preserve the environment better than you do.
We know how to raise your children better than you do.
And look at Hillary Clinton calling people deplorables, flyover country.
Right.
Obama clutching their guns and Bibles.
Yeah, clinging to their guns.
Clinging
and,
to their buns
and Bibles.
buns and guybles. Yes, clinging to their buns and guybles. And I don't know. It's a dynamic language. Don't look at me like that. Eric's looking at me like I can't speak English. But anyway, they always take that tact, and they get this sort of look down your nose
It's this
thing.
holier than thou.
Yeah.
Like we're the ruling class, and you're just the proletariat.
So Maryland, a group of Maryland citizens get together because Maryland enacted an assault weapon ban.
Okay.
And in fact, Wilson versus Chicago has been, or Cook County has been waiting to see how this thing comes out. Mm-hmm. So the United States Supreme Court, they petitioned the United States Supreme Court because they want to reverse the Court of Appeals rule that strips some of America's, they say, popular rifles. Basically, what Maryland did is it did very much like Cook County did. They go, if it's got this, it's an assault weapon, it's illegal. And, I did I did a video for Wilson versus Cook County, which was actually used in the Highland Park, what's his name? I can't think of his name all of a sudden. It's getting old stuff, man. Anyway, but the Highland Park one, they used the video. Friedman versus Highland Park.
Took me a second.
Yeah. And they actually used the videotape in that. I'm quoted in the Supreme Court, in the paperwork, going up to Supreme Court. They talk, my video is in there. But they don't mention my name, which I was personally crushed.
Yeah.
At the time, I was going to call Scalia up and go, hey,
my name got left
out. Can you just sort of tuck it in there? What's the little thing that you do as
so
an
what you should do is you should contact whatever lawyer's in charge of the Maryland one, and say, hey, got a video you might be interested in.
It's not actually my video.
Oh.
Well, because the NRA pays for it,
right?
So they technically own it. They paid me for to do it. So
okay, well, tell the NRA to
pitch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kolb, Fourth Circuit, the case was Kolb versus Hogan, and direct contradiction of Supreme Court Heller case, which said, you have a right to own a gun for self-defense. And so a bunch of people in Maryland got together, and they want to appeal that, and they want to go before the SCOTUS. Now, interesting thing that I've never seen this number before, and here it is. I never had seen this number before. I know the Supreme Court gets a lot of, certs. A lot of people want to have cases tried before them, but apparently, SCOTUS gets about 10,000 petitions a year. and they can only do 80. Just think about that. 10,000, and I'm sure many of them are very good, legitimate.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't throw something for the Supreme Court that's.
If they don't make it, don't they often come back the next year?
Well, if it's evergreen, sure,
Right.
they'll come back and try again.
Right. So a lot of those are, they keep trying.
Yeah. But the reality is, despite the fact that SCOTUS is not supposed to be partisan politics, there's partisan politics.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a liberal court, they're simply not going to hear those cases. If they like what the lower court ruled, they just won't accept them.
Right.
What's interesting now, it's not a liberal court. Gorsuch took Scalia's seat, which brought it back to being. But we've got.
We're like +1. But then there's like some question marks.
Well, that's the problem. We've got people who are supposedly Republican. That don't always rule.
Yeah, the Chief Justice, that's not Kennedy, the Chief Justice, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
is
Berger, right, shows you how old I am. Roberts.
Yeah. He's always a question mark. You never know what
Yeah.
he's going to do.
Yeah. He seems like a nice guy, but,
Well, right. I mean, Bush picked him because he thought he was conservative, and then he's ruled against conservative things in some
he
cases.
wavers.
Yeah.
There are very few Scalias. Gorsuch may very well be one. He may be
Oh,
a
yeah.
Scalia.
He's good.
Yeah. Which
Well, I don't think he's necessarily conservative, but he is a strict constitutionalist. He's not
Right.
He's not one of these interpreter.
which is conservatives
philosopher
are basically
people.
strict
Right,
constitutionalists.
exactly.
Yeah. I don't know how he's on other conservative points, but he is a constitutionalist. So if I were him, I wouldn't go to like hunting lodges and, check in. Which that whole thing is pretty shady. Apparently Scalia knew the owner, who was a Democrat, who had ties to Clinton. There's a real shocker. And then he sort of mysteriously wakes up dead.
Wakes up dead.
It's
kind of the point. He didn't wake up.
The whole thing is, I don't know. And
fishy.
And here's the other thing. He's declared by a coroner dead, who's never seen him. Calls it in, phones it in, and they take him out and cremate him.
Yeah, I was going to say they buried him really quick before they could
didn't
do
bury
an
him. They
autopsy.
cremated him. It's adios. Nothing left, That's when you have a coroner who rules on a case without not just not doing an autopsy, never even being in the same room with the guy, and then let's cremate him. I don't think that's what Scalia would have wanted. Scalia was Catholic.
Oh,
And
yeah. Catholics don't
aren't
do
into
that.
cremation. No. Don't read the Bible. Don't get cremated. Right? So, I don't know. That'll be another thing that'll go on for years and years and years. People will debate what happened to Antonin Scalia. They'll say it was whacked by the left and whatever. It could well be. Who knows? I don't know. But so here's the problem. Because the odds are never in favor that they will take Supreme Court will take your case.
Right. Obviously.
We've always known that was
10,000.
true. But I didn't realize how bad the odds were.
Yeah.
And here they may well look at this case and they go, yeah, that's something we do want to address, but there's things that are really more important in their opinion.
Right.
And even though they might like to address it and might very well rule in our favor, they look at this and they go, but this is really,
This is
so
pressing. Yeah.
that's what you're going to do. How many do we have on the Supreme Court now?
How many? You mean total?
Yeah.
Isn't there, I think there's 9 total.
Is it? Because that's not a fixed number.
Yeah.
I never
didn't
knew this
realize
until
that,
until Scalia died. I thought you had to have whatever the number was.
Yeah, I thought there was a
Turns
set
out that's not
number.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So they could appoint another extra person if they want to. It's a bad precedent.
Yeah.
They pretty well, I believe, tried to stay constant at the number.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then the president come in and report 24 liberals to the Supreme
Right. There's
Court.
that, and then also like salaries go up, and Trump's done a really good job of cutting back his payroll. So
He has indeed, including his own staff.
compared with Obama.
Who did not.
who expanded the payroll.
Had more people working
Exponentially.
for him in the White House than any president before.
Yeah, what was the statistic? Like, Michelle had like 24 staffers, and I think
Laura Bush
Melania has like 9.
Yeah.
Something like
And
that.
Laura Bush had just a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the woman who hates her country and says she should be paid to be First Lady.
And the White House is like prison,
Every morning I wake up in a house that was built by slaves.
which is a lie.
Of course it is. It was a lie. It was built by union.
And then I heard.
That was a joke. I don't know that for a fact.
I
But
was going to say, I don't think that existed yet.
it may not. That was
I
a
don't
joke.
think so. I heard Chris Rock repeat the lie on the Jimmy Fallon show. I was just like,
What did he say?
that it was a house built by slaves.
Oh, house built by slaves. Yeah,
He
yeah.
repeated it.
It's not
yeah.
true. It isn't true. No. It was built by tradesmen, whatever.
But
They got
you know,
paid.
it's those are the types of things. That's the type of fake news that really gets under my skin because, you know, probably cost Sarah Palin and John McCain the election.
We're talking about Sarah Palin.
Tina Fey
Yeah.
impersonating her, and everyone thinking it was actually her that said
Yeah.
those things.
I can see Russia from my back porch. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Tina Fey was good at doing.
Okay.
She was good at doing it, and I've never. And you know, I've said.
But
this
let's
many
make
times.
no effort whatsoever to clarify the fact that I'm a comedian. I'm not actually Sarah Palin, and I said that. She didn't say that.
Yeah. But I would be hard pressed personally to say that someone who's doing satire should not be allowed to do it, and that's
No. I'm not saying she shouldn't be allowed to do it, but when people start repeating that,
repeating
like
it as fact.
ad nauseum as
Yeah.
fact, I think she has a duty
She probably
to
should.
come out and say, especially because she was an anchor for Weekend Update. I think she has a duty to come out and say, listen, I'm a comedian and I said that. She didn't say that.
I don't think anybody takes Weekend Update seriously, though. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
some people, that's like their main source of news, that and The Daily Show.
there is that problem. There probably are people who do. But if you watch Saturday,
No, not probably. Most definitely.
if you watch Saturday Night for its news,
Well, I think they incidentally get their news from
Yeah,
it. I don't think
yeah.
they're seeking it out as like, okay, let's watch the news. I mean, obviously that's not it, but
I'm going to vote for Hillary because I heard it on Saturday Night Live's news. That's who I should vote for. I don't know. Anyway, Maryland is Kolb is they're filed. They want SCOTUS to hear the Maryland assault. And now, what will be interesting if they do that? Wilson versus Cook County could resurrect, depending on what the outcome of that trial is, because if they find that Maryland can't ban assault weapons, will that be challenged by other states? I don't know. It'd be Supreme Court. You know what happened with Miller and with Rhonda Ezell and with I can't think of his name. McDonald. I mean, when they have those rulings, immediately jurisdictions try to figure out how to get around them.
right.
Just immediately. With Rhonda Ezell, okay, you got to allow a gun store in Chicago. Fine, we'll have them. But you can't be within 1,000 feet of this. You can't be within 500 feet of that. It can't be in this. It can't be. And by the time you get in, there wasn't 1 square inch in the city of Chicago you put a gun store.
Right.
But you could have one.
Right.
All you got to do is meet the ordinance.
Right.
So then you got to go back to court, and it's got to go up to the appellate court, it's got to go up to the Supreme Court, and you fight it all over. And this costs millions of dollars.
Yep.
And the whole premise is the city of Chicago and Cook County will use your tax dollars to fight an individual who doesn't have that kind of money. That's the game they play. They're schmucks. We're going to be back. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about national reciprocity, which is something we need. We'll come back and we'll talk about all that and more when we return with
On Target Radio.
Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474 and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
Reciprocity. You'd have thought after they shot Republicans at a baseball game who are actually in control of, well, that's maybe a bad choice of words, who are in the
Majority
in Congress. I wouldn't say they're in control.
Clearly they're not in control.
Yeah. When they start shooting you because you're a Republican, you'd think they'd go, let's
go vote on that.
Let's go vote on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine if that guy would have showed up and everybody there was carrying a gun?
I actually did think that was going to happen. I know that may show my deep naivete, but I actually thought that was going to happen. The bill already has 205 co-sponsors. Like, what more do you want? Just take a vote already.
Maybe somebody will call in every week and tell us an update.
I wonder if the holdup is in the Senate. They only have 37 co-sponsors in the Senate.
37, 60, 74, that's more than half.
More than half of the Republicans, but it's only like
right.
It's only like 1/3 of the Senate.
Has, right.
They have like 102.
There's 102, right? That's right.
So I wonder if that's the holdup because they know that then it won't pass the Senate. Well, I shouldn't say it won't pass the Senate. It might not pass the Senate.
Yeah, just because they didn't sign on doesn't mean they won't vote for it, but you don't know.
Right.
And the point is if you sign on, that's never a total guarantee that you'll vote for it.
True.
You look pretty hypocritical if you sign on and then don't vote for it.
Right.
You look like you live in Illinois, for instance.
You look like you've got your head up your you-know-what.
Illinois, yeah. Which is actually lower than you-know-what.
Right.
But National Crime Prevention Research Center says they now are putting the number of concealed permit holders in the U.S. at 16.3 million people. And it's 1.83 million have gotten it in the last year, 2016.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Very popular.
That is a lot of people. And the biggest, that's 6.5% of the American population have concealed carry permits. Now you go, well, it's not, what's 6.5%? It's 400 million guns are floating around out there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and 6.5% of the population has concealed carry alone. So you look at the state of Illinois. I haven't looked at the latest numbers. How many FOID cards are there?
2 million.
2 million, something
2
like
million,
that?
yeah.
And how many concealed permit holders do we have now?
We're like
300
231,000.
I thought it was 300 or something.
We might have gotten to 300, but yeah, I haven't seen a number lately.
Initially, they said, oh, it's going to be a flood. Well, actually, initially, there was a flood. The flood just didn't last that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was brief.
There were people whose names I will not mention. They whose names we will not mention said 400,000 first year.
Yeah.
First year they got 100 and some.
That guy was wrong.
He was wrong. Yeah.
And I know who it is, by the way.
Yeah.
I remember.
and it's a good friend of mine. I'm not going to drag him face down in the mud. But we have 2 million.
He's not a good friend of mine.
That's fine.
He writes other people big campaign checks. He's never written me He's never written me a small campaign check, let alone a big campaign check.
I think we're talking about two different people.
No, we're not, because we have a mutual friend named Suzanne Hart, and he has written her big campaign checks.
Really?
Really?
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should run for office.
Well, if she is to be believed. Well. There's an if there.
I believed her once. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd still be sitting in my office waiting for that class to happen. Here's the important thing here. And this is an issue with the ISRA, too, that nettles me to no end. You got a couple million FOID card holders, and ISRA has, I don't know, 30,000 members, something like that. I mean, that makes no sense. None. And people, if you have a FOID card, if you have a concealed carry permit, you wouldn't have it if it hadn't been for the ISRA.
Absolutely.
Just that simple.
They're the ones that found Mary Shepard. They're the ones that helped her sue the state of Illinois.
And they helped Rhonda Gazelle, and
Otis McDonald.
They did Otis McDonald, and if you own a gun, and you know I'm a big supporter of the NRA. I'm a life member. In fact, I'm an endowed life member. Big supporter of the NRA. But if I had to pick one, I'd pick the ISRA.
Right.
I live in this state.
The ISRA is the boots on the ground in Springfield.
Absolutely.
They are the ones that are there watching those people and, pushing back.
And this is not to demean the NRA, but rightfully so. The NRA is a national organization. So they look at what goes on in the various states, and when they see something going on in a state that has national, federal implication, and they come in, they put money in. Well, that makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. But it's your home grassroots organizations. I don't know that every state has one, but I would be surprised if they didn't have some equivalent to the Illinois State Rifle Association, because the people in that state are going to have lobbyists in their capital fighting for their bills, and that's what the ISRA does. They have like 5 lobbyists. Now they're not all full time.
No, most of them.
But a couple of them are full time, and a couple of them are not. But if it were not for the Illinois State Rifle Association, you would not have concealed carry.
And we'd be even worse off than we are.
Much worse off. And we would, and even if we did get it, because let's say the lawsuit went forward without the ISRA, but Mary Shepard certainly couldn't afford to do it.
No.
But let's say it did, if somebody weren't down there fighting, and the NRA was there fighting, once they did fight for the bill, we would have had a May issue, and that was just a non-starter. It just wasn't going to go. And of course, the Southern Illinois Democrats sided with the Northern Republicans all the Republicans on concealed carry. Otherwise, we would have lost that. So right now,
Well, I thought I was under the impression that Madigan gave a lot of the Democrats permission to vote for it.
Well, here's the deal. That's sort of true, because he had no choice.
Right.
As of midnight, whatever the date was, there was going to be concealed carry.
Right.
And it would have been constitutional, meaning no money, no training,
no money,
control.
No, exactly.
So literally what happened...
No restrictions.
What literally happened is while they were combating and arguing and rejecting this and rejecting that, Madigan already had it printed up.
Yeah, he already had a bill written. He goes...
Right. And at the 11th hour...
This is it.
And it's quite literally at the 11th hour, really.
Yeah.
They dropped on everybody's desk and you vote on it. Because in 60 minutes, it's going to be constitutional carry and we're screwed.
Madigan goes, this is the bill, vote on it.
Vote on it, right. And they hammered it out with ISRA and NRA, and they all just beat on each other, which is why, and because you teach the law, this is exactly why when you get the law for concealed carry in the state of Illinois, you go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
You're like,
it contradicts
this
itself.
Sucks.
Right. You look at it, you can carry a gun right here, but you can't go next door and carry because it's Cook County. Well, but that was all hammered out as deals. Well, you give me this, I give you that. You give me this, I give you that.
Exactly.
And the whole thing is screwed up. And of course, we've seen that the Democrats have started to try to pick stuff off. I forget her name. I can't think of it, but I watched her in the subcommittee. She was arguing, she's saying communities should have a right to decide whether or not you can have assault weapons. Well, that's part of the bill. Concealed carry says you had your chance, and it's over. So they're already trying to pick off different parts of the bill. I don't know. It's typical liberalism. Anything that they say, any deal that they make is going to change when they get the part of it that they want. Well, they always say, we just need this one thing, and everything will be okay. And then when they get that, they go, we just need this one thing, and it's never ending. And I'm sure people have asked you, Why does the NRA keep just fighting everything tooth and I don't care how small it is. I don't care how trivial it is. Well, who can argue with felons shouldn't get their hands on guns? I'm just making something up.
Right.
Who could argue against that? Well, the NRA will argue. They're not, but I'm just saying, picking something. And the reason why, the philosophy is you make them fight for every inch.
Right.
You don't give in to anything. They got to fight it. They got to spend their money. You tie them up in courts because as soon as they get it,
it's
they're going
spending
to the next.
their resources and their money.
Yeah. As soon as they get whatever it is, then they're going to immediately start on the next one. So it's a war. What is it? 1,000 nicks?
Death by 1,000
Death by
cuts.
1,000 cuts. Yeah. The unfortunate thing is, I'm not so sure that in the long run we're not going to lose that war. Now, maybe with the change of tides in Washington with Trump and Gorsuch on the Supreme Court, and he will probably get another one, at least another SCOTUS. Maybe times will change. But as it is right now, it scares me. It still does, even though we got one vote up. Oh, really? She just showed me a little note. If you can't see it, she can hear my shoes squeaking. I'm sorry.
I was trying not to say it on the air, but stop squeaking your shoes.
Well, you didn't say it on the air until just now. Okay, fine. Squeaky shoes. What can I say? I don't know. As her cat dives up on the table and sits on a computer.
He's peacefully napping over in the chair.
In my chair, probably. In my chair.
Well, by virtue of them all being your chair, yeah.
Well, there's that. Yeah. I think S-Cat was a little upset with me today because I locked him out of my bedroom.
As, you know, as is only reasonable. When you are the alpha cat, you should be able to go in any room and sleep on any piece of furniture.
See, this is where S-Cat and I get into sort of a little discussion because I'm the alpha. You know what I'm saying? I'm the big tuna. I'm the big guy in town.
He doesn't think that.
Obviously he doesn't.
He disagrees with you.
And when I walk in and he's stretched out on my bed.
By virtue of you having opposable thumbs and being able to pull that door closed, you are the alpha.
I'm the alpha.
You're the alpha cat.
We almost had cat for dinner when I found him laying on my bed. He tests me with the chair, and when I go, well, it's cute, let him stay. And then he goes to the bed. All right. He now knows what the sound of a shotgun sounds like when you click on it.
When you rack it,
yeah. Anyway, where there is a National Reciprocity Act that's on the books, they've got a bunch of people. We need to call. We need to make phone calls. Let's get this thing moving. It is nonsensical that you can carry a gun. And I've said this many times. You can start carrying a gun in Will County and drive up 55, and the closer you get to Chicago, the more laws you're breaking. That makes no sense at all.
Yep.
That's insane. Anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, this just tickles the snot out of me. We're going to talk politics. And guess who is getting into it? I'm sure by now you probably heard it's been around a while. But we're going to talk about when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
I just want to make a public announcement that I am continuing to beat Michael Polk at Words with Friends. So those of you...
Oh, that's harsh.
Those of you...
That is harsh.
...who are associated with the Aurora Sportsman's Club, that has meaning, right? That has meaning. I just want to... I can beat a lawyer.
Now I have a new reason not to play Words with Friends with you. You would publicly humiliate me if ever I were to lose.
Okay.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
This year, the ISRA will hold its annual Sighting In Day at the ISRA Range in Bonfield on October 7th from 9:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. We can accommodate rifles, pistols, shotguns, and muzzleloaders. The fee is $10 per firearm. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Sunday, August 13th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, September 2nd and 3rd, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. When seconds count, the police are only minutes away. That's why you should get Illinois Concealed Carry. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
That was short but sweet. Okay. I've been talking with Eric Callis about getting Rob Pincus out to Aurora. I took a class, I don't know, a year ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And I hope we get him out. It may be the other guy, but I hope we get Rob out because he's a really, really good instructor. And I really would like to see him put on a seminar out at Aurora. So, but he's what we're going to do is he's got a guy who works for him, I guess, and they'll come out and do the 2-day thing that I took, which is really worthwhile. Something you might want to do if you don't mind people yelling at you. And,
yeah, I'm not going to do it.
No, but he's good. He's funny. You know, we just we all laughed. You know, because it's just funny. He picks on everybody, and then when it's all over, everybody's laughing, has a good time, except one guy who didn't. It's a male. Yeah, sort of.
Atmosphere, culture.
You know, hoo-ah. It's your war face. Come on.
Right.
It's your war face.
It's a male
bonding
type of.
Yeah. And I said in the
scenario.
critique, he doesn't do written critiques. He does oral critiques at the end. He sits in the classroom and he goes, "Okay, tell me what you think." And my that's really laying it out. And I said, "This is basic training with a sense of humor." I mean, it was funny. We were laughing. We had a good time, except one guy who didn't think it was funny. You know, if you do something wrong, if you screw up, and he says, "You suck. Go stand in that puddle." I mean, how can you not laugh at that? It's funny. I guess you can't.
I'm sure that I wouldn't like it. Suffice it to say.
It's good information. But anyway, he would come out, one of the two would come out and do the 2-day thing, which is a superb course. And then they'll do a carbine class, 1-day carbine, which I would definitely take the carbine class.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it would be. You know, do push-ups, I don't know, whatever it is. This, I think, is an interesting twist. There have been celebrities that have been in Congress. Gopher from Love Boat. Wasn't he from Iowa?
I don't remember.
Or Nebraska. One of those barren states. I don't remember which one.
I know that Radar was from Iowa, but I don't know.
Radar, yeah.
I don't know about Gopher.
So the latest one is?
Kid Rock.
And I find that really interesting. Apparently, a year or so ago, his name was floated, but it was kind of a joke. And so this time, people are going, well, it's kind of a joke, but it's not.
He's going, yeah, no.
He's going, yeah, it's really funny, but no, it's not a joke. And I don't know how old he is. He's probably 40s, 50s, something like that.
Yeah, he's probably pushing 50 by now.
Yeah.
I think he's older than me.
He's not stupid.
No.
So he's playing this game for real. He's signing up voters at his concerts.
Mm-hmm. What he said that the one thing I've seen over and over is that although people are unhappy with the government, too few are even registered to vote or do anything about it. So he understands enough about how the process works to go about it in a really smart way.
His quote is, "I believe if you work your butt off and pay taxes, you should be able to easily understand and navigate the laws, tax codes, health care, and anything else the government puts in place that affects us all," which is very hard to argue with that. You can hear my shoes squeaking. I could take my shoes off. Would that be better? I don't know.
Probably.
How are my shoes squeaking? How are my shoes squeaking?
We can all hear your shoes
squeaking. You can hear my shoes squeaking.
You're rubbing them on the rung of the chair.
Okay.
Well, I assume that's
true.
what's happening.
That's right. Call 815-205-1584. Can you hear my shoes squeaking?
Yeah. Call and tell him. Do it.
See how vicious this can get? Seriously. This is how vicious it can
Well,
get.
you know what? If I were coughing or if I were rustling paper, if I were doing anything, you'd be like, that's going out over the air. You'd be like,
How'd that go?
This
is what I put up with. So, weren't we talking about politics?
We were.
Not shoes. And speaking of shoes, you condemn my shoes. Your house is like a shoe store.
Okay, and what's your point?
They all squeak. I walk into your house, it's like, I want to go out for a walk.
Yeah, you're just making crap up. Let's talk about Kid Rock.
Can we get back to Kid Rock now?
Yes.
Well, it was a little punishment, that's all.
So the Democrats are very upset.
Scared bowel
because
movement.
the senator that is up for re-election the next time is Debbie Stabenow. And she is losing to him in the polls already.
Not doing well, that's right.
She is trailing 46 to 54%.
Oops.
So she's not happy.
It's also true that this early in the game, that may not mean a lot.
Well, yeah.
But it is very interesting that that he's got that level of popularity. It's also very interesting that he is doing what I've always sort of objected to, but I do find it interesting. He's using his image and his machinery for politics, which is what other people have done. And what's his face, that moron in Minnesota?
Oh,
Smalley.
Al.
Yeah, Franken.
Al Franken.
Yeah, who's a real piece of crap.
Yeah. The funny thing about Minnesota, they've had a number of celebrities serve as politicians in Minnesota. It's strange state. Jesse Ventura was their governor for a while, and they had another either congressman or senator that was a celebrity.
Well, I don't know that he was a celebrity, but he was well known.
So apparently it was like all the guys that starred in Predator. I think that was the movie.
Including Predator.
I think that was the movie, that literally all those guys ended up being politicians.
Including Predator. He was president. It's here's the thing about Minnesota. You go from freezing your cojones off to having them eaten by mosquitoes. That's your two options in Minnesota.
Right.
You're either being bitten or you're being frozen. That's what they got. And this is a state where their hobbies are drinking coffee and sawing holes in ice and sitting on their ass, freezing it off, catching fish that you can buy in a market. You know what I'm saying? They actually
Okay,
had,
you said a curse word, so now I get to say a curse word.
What did I say? What? Ass? It's an anatomical reference. It's like saying nose.
Yes, but it's slang for
ass. What? It's a part of the body.
Doesn't change the fact that if you say one, I get to say one.
Well, you can say a part of the body, and we can't wait to hear this. I'm
I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for
go ahead
for a choice moment.
Talk about anything that comes up. Go right ahead. I don't know. What am I saying? I'm just going to squeak my shoes and butt out. But the point is, he's using social media. He's smart. He's
using his concerts.
It appears he knows what he's doing.
He's got large numbers of people who already care what he says.
It's interesting. He says, I concede she's better at playing politics than I am, so I'll keep doing what I do best, which is being a voice for tax-paying, hardworking Americans and letting politicians like her know that we the people are sick and tired of their bull.
It actually said that, but
Yeah.
you don't want me to get two curse words.
Well, I put that. It says bull.
So Larry sent us an email, and he said, I heard the noise, and it sounded like it was coming from under the table. I'm just glad to find out it was only your shoes.
So in 3 minutes and 43 seconds, I can bail out of this thing, shoes and all. All right? Next week, I'm going to be naked. Okay. By the way, speaking of... Well, I don't squeak. I creak, but I don't squeak. By the way, I just want to point out I have a new T-shirt which says, I'm Sicilian. We don't call the cops. We call family. I think this is a beautiful T-shirt.
Are we reading our T-shirts?
And yours says...
Mine says, you can never have too much, or you can never have enough ammo or too much practice.
There you go. That's it.
Mine says nothing.
He's not wearing a T-shirt. He's the only grown-up here who's actually wearing a shirt with a collar.
He rarely talks, and his T-shirts are blank. Well, I don't know. There must be a message in there somewhere. I'm not sure what it is.
I think it is. Those are consistent messages. Yes,
yeah.
It's very consistent.
Nothing. I don't know. It's I don't even know how we get away with this.
So we have 2.5 minutes to talk about security clearances.
We do, and this is not funny. Kid Rock, you can have some fun with. More power to him. I hope he does well. But this is really disturbing. This is the tail wagging the dog. The intelligence agencies, mind you, these are unelected people, appointed. The heads of them are appointed by the President of the United States, okay? And they claim they have the power to veto the President of the United States advisors by denying them security clearances. That's not how the system works. The President appoints somebody, and then he can have a background check done on them. They can run it. But the President can appoint anybody he wants. But nobody has to approve that. That's his inner circle.
Right, and there's different levels of security clearances. So I would just imagine, if you're not that good of a risk, they just give you like a crappier clearance.
But in point of fact, the President can turn around and tell you anything he feels like telling you. Because he's the President of the United States.
Right.
And this nonsense that they're trying to get him for treason, he talked about, he can tell anybody anything he wants. He's the President.
Right.
Now, it might be a stupid thing to do.
Right.
But he can do it.
Right.
So that scares me a little bit when the intelligence, see, there's still holdovers from Obama.
Yeah.
And that's what scares me when they start talking about, well, we're just not going to let him, we're not going to prove his people. Well,
Right.
you can't do that.
You can't do that. You work for him.
Yeah, but they're doing it nonetheless. And the other thing, we have just seconds, literally. But I just have to say this. The liberals come back out with smart guns, which proved to be stupid as a brick. Here you have a smart gun, the epitome of what liberals have always wanted, and what can you do?
You can hack it.
You can hack the smart gun
with household items.
With a handful of magnets. You can override smart gun technology by putting magnets in your hand. That's all you got to say about that. We'd like to thank you for taking the time tonight. And we appreciate it if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
You didn't print one for me.
I didn't need to.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, my editor, Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And we hope that you'll return next week to listen to our squeaky shoes and covering more red meat issues that affect your life.